So, to get this kind of started correctly, I'm going to invite the first of our guests. We've actually got a series of guests that we're going to be rolling out for you on this whole kind of youth poetry kind of vibe. Our first guest, as was mentioned by Farrell, has traveled a very long way to be with us today, a little bit further than Wales. Our first guest, I want you to put your hands together to welcome him all the way from Chicago. All the way from Chicago, put your hands together and welcome the one, the only, Mr. Langston Kerman.
Y'all speak, alright? So, first one, photo album. Or, if my family had a story, page 1, these are the breaks. My uncle doesn't come around much anymore. Buried under weight of plastic memorabilia from back when he was fly. Starter jackets, British knights, and gold chains spoiled around his neck, rusting like the movie. Rewind. Veins like extension cords. His heart electric before pacemakers and synthesized beats. Y'all, he walked with a rhythm only drums could understand. His blood melted wax. Can you picture the music? See, Mom said a piece of him died when the hood grew tired of telling stories with its fingers. One day, he'll disappear completely. Pass away like cardboard head spins. He'll dream of solar power before daylight turns its back on him. Buried under weight of murals painted by alleyway shadows, they unplugged him, she says. Page 2. It was all good just a week ago. We are distant cousins, separated by chipped sidewalks and ashen wind of Austin Boulevard. Born in city's back pocket, where ruling fingers concentrated brown smiles like Nesquik. Tattered jeans, scraped cement. Weigh you down in poverty and call it hip-hop. Call it a movement as long as you don't move neighborhoods. Steal the rhythm off your back to feed their children on holidays. Nod their heads on beat like they understand. Cause brothers make good bedtime stories. Small talk at dinner table, handprints in concrete. Will they recognize ghetto faces if you take off the hood? Page 3. Mercy, mercy, me. Mom, I'm sorry for the records we stole. Tainted needle and wax veins inject foreign objects, textures into bloodstream. Force dinner tables to spin. Heartbeats skip. It will never sound the same. And I wonder, can you still hear your music through photos? Fried gefilte fish, all right? Somewhere in between West Side Detroit and Cincinnati, Ohio, my grandparents will get drunk. Together, on accident. My mother's mom will get things started. She'll kick back a couple shots of Absolute snuck in her oversized handbag. Light a cigarette with menorah candles she found boxed up in attic. Then she'll throw some catered bagels and lox on a grill just to show how much better everything tastes. Barbecue. She'll push a plate in front of my father. Force him to taste test chocolate dip Detroit. He'll smile at the smoky flavor. And Grandma will love him for being white man who knows how to savor the taste of pig's feet and chitlins. They will sit together and talk for hours about greens and crumbled cornbread, dust collecting in corners of conversation that will somehow remind them both of my mother. My Nana will watch all of this in complete and utter horror. Like Holocaust, she doesn't talk about, afraid to speak up. She will swallow enough wine to forget not to smile. My Papa, on the other hand, will sit, shaking his head. He will quietly down enough Jack Daniels to apologize to my mother for the weeks my father spent in a hospital bed, for refusing to console his son in the same room as her dark flesh, for believing that black skin could only scar roots and empty trust funds. He'll reach out to her for a hug he never meant when sober. His wrinkled arms shaking like a teenager stretching for a liquor cabinet. My mother will smile, politely pat him on his back, and see, for a moment in his arms, she will picture her father and wish he were here to get drunk, slam a door, yell out something awkward and racist, just to remember what father she never needed. Tears, blurring eyes, they will all sit together, each of them leaning tipsily like pickled fish out of water, passing out on each other's shoulders, closer than we have ever been.
Beginning, you know, that's just the beginning. Put your hands together one more time for Langston Kerman, please. We are just getting started. One thing I must say, this is not the Poetry Society. This is not the Poetry Cafe. This is not a library. So when someone comes up to read one of their poems, be it an individual or a team, we don't have to wait until the end of said poem to give polite applause. Wonderful poem. Young. No! This is Stratford. This is East London. I'm not saying anything bad about Stratford at all. First thing I'm a South East London boy, but you know. Yeah, I'm not saying about, you know, getting into that kind of sides and ends thing. No. I'm just saying that we get down slightly differently. Yeah. So when you hear something that you really appreciate, you don't have to wait till the end of the poem. No way! If that poem grabs you right in here, give a little noise. Oh, wait! Right? Make a little sound. Yeah! Let your poets know that you are feeling them in some way. That's the line! Give that guy over there a round. Alright, so in a second, in a moment, we're going to get started with the program. Before we do,